Cabinet Lekgotla kicks off today. It is the first meeting since President Cyril Ramaphosa appointed his new executive. Samkele Maseko is tracking developments on that story. He joins us now live from the capital. And Samkele, I suppose, as a starting point, there would have been an agenda that's been set for this all-important first Lekgotla meeting, Cabinet Lekgotla meeting. What would be at the top of that agenda?
Well, at this point in time, Michelle, it's very difficult to say what could be at the top of this cabinet memo or this cabinet agenda in this Cabinet Lekgotla that's currently taking place. We've seen a number of ministers and deputy ministers coming for the very first Cabinet Lekgotla of the 6th administration. It's effectively the first cabinet meeting of this 6th administration, but there have been a number of issues, particularly within the public domain. You've got resignations in some key state-owned enterprises, the CEOs. The CEO of SAA is gone. The CEO of Eskom, has also tendered in his resignation. About a week ago, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, did meet with the CEOs of these state-owned enterprises, some of them whom are ailing, trying to find a way to rescue these state-owned enterprises and make them profitable. Once again, you've had the issues of the land audit, which was presented to the President yesterday by the Deputy President and the team that was leading that particular land audit. The only audit that is now yet to be finalized is the audit of land owned by state-owned enterprises. Remember that SOEs also own a number of land across the country. That's yet to be finalized, but municipal land that is owned by municipalities, land that is owned by provincial government, national government, that audit is done and has been handed over to the President and the Minister of Agriculture, Togo Didiza. Then there's issues of amendments to the PPP which my colleague Governor Whittles will be going into and highlighting.
Yeah, absolutely, Samkele. You must be right in saying that SOEs will feature quite high up on the agenda there today. In terms of what individual ministers will be adding to this first Cabinet Lekgotla, perhaps also in particular new ministers, what might that be?
Well, at this point in time, you've had the Justice Minister, Ronald Lamula, saying that courts must be gun-free zones. You've had issues where you've had the new Minister of Social Development, that would be Lindiwe Zulu. I've just said, almost said Susan Shabangu, the former minister, but you've had her wanting to clean house and see what new improvements she can provide within that particular department. You've had the new minister of international relations, who wants to also change the way in which international relations works in South Africa. Then you've got Pravin Gordhan, the minister of public enterprises, who's basically the new memo that has been sent out by government, where they want to re-look at state-owned enterprises, re-establish them properly, and then move them back to their respective departments. For instance, you could effectively see the South African Airways, SAA, going back to the Department of Transport, PRASA going back to transport as well. It's actually there with Minister Fikile Mbalula having been there about a day or two ago. Then you've got Minister Fikile Mbalula within the Transport Department trying to sort out the current war that's currently going on within the trucking industry. Remember that various trucks have been burnt across the country. There have been blockades on the N3. So these are the sorts of issues that these various ministers have to work through. Then you've got Gwede Mantashe at Mineral Resources and Energy. He has got to streamline the work of the Energy Department and Mineral Resources and streamline it and for it to work together. Then you've got Pinky Kekana, who's the Deputy Minister of Communications and Telecommunications, working with Stella Ntabeni-Abrahams, who have got to converge those two particular departments to work as one. Then you've got issues of ailing state-owned enterprises. Then you've got issues of the economy that have to be streamlined. You've got Tito Mboweni, the Minister of Finance, who's spoken about tightening up the belt and trimming the fat within various departments, curbing government expenditure. You've seen that memo that has also gone out with the Minister of Finance asking and pleading with various mayors to start using public transport and to be more in contact with communities, which has prompted a response from the mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay, Mongabeli Bobani.
Yeah, and that's not to mention that GDP contraction that we saw in the first quarter of this year, the biggest contraction in over a decade in South Africa. There's the unemployment rate as well. The economy will no doubt feature quite highly in today's events. And you've mentioned so many issues, Samkele, that must surely be on the agenda there today. At what point do we get a chance to question those cabinet ministers on what's unfolded in this Cabinet Lekgotla?
Well, Michelle, we did try to question some cabinet ministers, but we were unfortunately prevented by some of the security detail here, saying that we can't speak to any of the cabinet ministers. Pumla Williams tried to assist us within that regard, but they reached a conclusion that we must refrain from talking to various ministers at this point in time until we get a response from the minister in the presidency. That would be Jackson and Tembu. But just to go back on issues of the economy, you've had the spat that was there, particularly between ANC leaders over the mandate of the South African Reserve Bank. So that may feature in this Cabinet Lekgotla, particularly looking that the ANC actually does have a resolution to nationalize the South African Reserve Bank. It's not yet clear whether that resolution extends to expanding the mandate of the South African Reserve Bank or not. That's a debate that's currently ensuing and ongoing on within the governing party. That would be the African National Congress. The ANC's chairperson of economic transformation, that would be Enoch Godongwana, is dealing with that particular matter, and then it's prompted the President of the Republic of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, to take in the reins and basically be the one who's going to be discussing issues, critical issues and sensitive issues such as the South African economy. So you've got those discussions that are currently going on. And historically, you'd remember the former Minister of Finance in Nhlanhlaneni in the National Assembly, when the issue of the nationalization of the Reserve Bank was tabled, he was the one who pushed for the ANC caucus and for Parliament to withdraw that particular discussion of the debate of how to go about in nationalizing the Reserve Bank. So those discussions, when it comes to the economic cluster, may also feature within this Cabinet Lekgotla, and that would be the future of the South African Reserve Bank. You've seen the Governor Lesitha Kganyago coming out and also speaking on the mandate of the Reserve Bank and the quantitative easing method that has been talked about and deliberated in the ANC Lekgotla, which basically comes before the Cabinet Lekgotla, which is currently taking place. Now, you'd understand that many of the government resolutions or resolutions that are taken by the Cabinet Lekgotla, some of them may have been discussed in the ANC Lekgotla, which is the government of the day.
Samkele Maseko is part of our team tracking this first Cabinet Lekgotla.